Oh no, doing too much. I give you host.
Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, CJ. Go Chiefs, lady. I heard you say you're Kansas City. I'm in Kansas City too. Maybe we can meet up. Who was that just said they're from Kansas City? Louis
I'm
Brown?
not from Kansas City. I'm just here.
Oh, you just here. Oh, okay. I'll take this back then. No, I don't know. You can claim it if you want. We're accepting out anybody in the nation right now. We gotta get our title back. So well, we can still meet up. I'm in Overland Park right now at my parents' house. Where are you at?
I live downtown Kansas City, so I'm
Okay.
on.
I didn't hear you.
I'm on Grand Boulevard in Truman.
Okay, okay. My brother's in. I'm staying right now in Kansas City, Missouri, off of. Well, anyway, let's. I'll give you my number after this. Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah. My name's Tamara Dykes. It says Queen Calafia, but I've been given these toasts, and I can go into my presentation later. But I, with CJ, myself, and Jesse Fenty. He's not. I don't think he's on right now. We came up with Create, and so I authored the book, "Who is the Black Queen Calafia of Golden, California: The Real Wonder Woman." And oh boy, it's been an infamous book already. Professor Dyson did the forward, and I had this T-shirt, so Kirk bought it, and we're just trying to uplift the truth. So I'll delve into that more a little bit later, and just still fighting, as we do, but we got to keep fighting. So happy Black History Month, everybody, and live history as we relive it. It seems.
Thank you. Tamra, you stole the host from me.
No, I didn't.
I'm not the host anymore. I can't even share my screen.
Are you seeing my? I don't know what I picked because this one participant at a time can share.
Yeah, can you
Okay,
just like go to my name and say make me a host?
Yeah, go to your name. I'm sorry, I only done this 3 times since Zoom has been out. Okay, so I go to make host. That's it. Do you want to change the host? Yes.
Okay, so I need to just give you the ability to share your screen.
Okay.
Oh, and allow the record. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, my name is CJ Kirk. I am your. Is this even right? Region 2 Professional College Initiative Chair. This is my second term as such. Grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, and now I'm in Washington, D.C. Been out here for about 3 years. And 3 years in, I'm noticing you guys don't really like freedom up in the North. That's just a slight jab. Yeah, I'm into history. I like to ride my bike. I like music a lot. Lauryn Hill is for the children. Yeah, let's get into it. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
It says introductions. Okay, cool. All right, so of course, what's a NSBE mission if we don't say the mission, or a NSBE meeting if we don't say the mission? So the mission of NSBE is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. Here at NSBE Create, we're really focused on that cultural responsibility. And this is why we're having this book club and having these discussions, so we can come together and first of all, define and then hold accountable to cultural best practices, right? What's like, you hear that term in like the office or corporate America, best practices, but in our culture, what are the best practices? And that's too vague for my liking, when I look out into the world. So, I want to come together and let's be the ones to, have some clarity on it. And then it's also a part of, once we identify these issues or, best practices, we have to think about how we can kind of solve historical problems that have been occurring. We talk about this generational trauma of Black people. Okay, well, how can we use our engineering skills to create a solution that will last for generations? 7 of them, to be specific. So again, this is all in alignment with the national directives This year, our national chair, Jocelyn Jackson, she came out, told us she wants to lead with a purpose, right? Leverage the NSBE ecosystem, secure the future of NSBE. And I'm just gonna say the word servant leadership, servant leadership, servant leadership. If it's not servant leadership, I don't know what it is. It's not leadership. I guess, fascism and a dictator, that's a leader, but. So yeah, we have a couple rules here because we're gonna talk about it. We wanna talk about everything. We wanna have tough conversations that you probably can't have in the workplace, but we're not at work. So we want you to be open-minded, fully understand and empathize with opposing points, have a logical counterpoint, be respectful, and don't take things personally. At least try very hard not to. So I've definitely wanted to start with my man Malcolm, and just have him share some words of wisdom about progress. So let me know if this audio isn't going through clear though.
You feel, however, that we're making progress in this country?
No. I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's a blow made. And they haven't even begun to pull a knife out, much less try and heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there.
Powerful.
Ooh. Okay, thoughts. How do you feel after hearing that?
It's the truth. When you do all the research, it's the truth.
Not much has changed.
Exactly.
Did that.
Yep.
And it really struck me what he said at the end, that they won't admit that the knife is there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a loaded statement. There's just so much to want to say about it. But yeah, I think basically getting down to it for me, it's like, any type of science, right? You want to be a chemist, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, precision is required. And yeah, so we just have to be specific and use our words, and that's the thing, it's like the language that's been used about progress is so vague. Like, we got hope, change, so we just gotta be more scientific about it, to really have results and have a metric. Because there's just so many moving parts. People talk so much, they smile so big, you get confused, it's hard to keep up. There's so many things happening at once. So that's why we have to establish those cultural best practices so we can stay rooted. Culture, right? I think about agriculture and, crops. So cultural best practices, how can we make sure we're not getting blown away with the wind, whichever way it goes? Okay, so that was that. And then so basically being an engineer, right? Like, we're all engineers here, right? So we've been in class where we did this, differential equations of thermodynamics, some really long calculus problem. It takes 2 pages to solve it, and you get a 0. Yeah, I remember thermodynamics, there was 3 questions on a test, and our teacher was not scared to give us a whole question wrong. But that's a science. You like in the real life, that mistake could cost lives, and that's okay. We understand, we hold ourselves to that standard. So when we talk about these social issues, if you don't have the right equation, you're going to get the wrong answer. If you don't have the right equation, you're going to get the wrong answer. Despite your good intentions, you're like yeah. So yeah, again, the devil's in the details, you guys. We have to properly identify these issues so we can properly solve them. So with that, that's exactly what we've been doing in NSBE Create, right? We've been going back in history and trying to add context to our lives today and understand these issues over, shoot, we started, you know, back in, we went back to the Greeks, right? So, and then all the way up to the Haitian Revolution, which we read last month. So a few of my takeaways from last month for the Haitian Revolution, I just learned some things like people will switch up on you when it hits the fan. Even in France, you know, in Haiti, when, you know, people were forced to choose a line, they couldn't stay in the middle anymore. They had to, you know, let their true intentions be shown. So it's just, you know, be mindful that, you know, until that time is there, people might be playing the cards a little close to hand. And it is culturally responsible to be able to identify those who are 10 toes down. You know, so how can I know who's actually going to be there for me when it hits the fan? I might have to have some real conversations with them, you know, to see what they think. Where are you at? And people only care when it benefits them. Is a lot of the time what I learn from these conversations. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think that's human nature, you know, so don't be mad at me when I'm looking out for myself. And then just on general, the art of war, it's all about deception, you guys. It's deception. It's deception. It's about resources, and it's about controlling the narrative, especially in 2021. The media is the front lines. So that was my very, you know, not professional, not intellectual breakdown. But from the book, exactly, J.A. Rogers told us that a most evident truth is that color prejudice is not natural to man, but it is the result of economic and social rivalry, the desire to hold certain groups available for exploitation. So pretty much we're learning that color, the whole concept of it is a social construct. It's not real. Because in the book, they went through that. I mean, when does racism even start? You know, it hasn't existed forever. It started like the 1500s when they started doing that. So before, you know, there were Africans going up in to Rome and Greece, and even in Europe in the and that was just normal. Like there was, you know, of course, you know, people hated other groups of people, women, right? Historically, like who's been more oppressed? Jews, people.
So
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I would say the Eastern world has seemed to uplift women in certain time frames, but Western, yeah, that definitely would be the case.
Yeah, but again, just kind of getting into human nature, it's like human nature is severely flawed. Like they're just, I don't know what's up with us, but we always got to put somebody down. And it's whether it be color, gender, your nose, your hair, it's going to be something, you know? So that's just kind of gets us to, you know, we talk about racism, but it's so much, well, I mean, I'll just show you. From C.L.R. James from the Haitian Revolution, he told us that the race question is subsidiary to the class question in politics. And to think of imperialism in terms of race is disastrous. But to neglect the racial factor as merely incidental as an error only less grave than to make it fundamental. Right? So he's telling us, okay, priorities, class first, all the other stuff second. Like this is about economics. And again, people only care when it benefits themselves. So this is the colonial question they had in France while they were doing the Haitian Revolution. We talked about how right before the Haitian Revolution was the French Revolution. You know, people in France were kings and queens that got so greedy. You know, the classes, the inequality just got so severe that people were ready to kill for it. And that's just what it was. But they could look to Haiti and be like, you know what? They don't need freedom. They don't need equality. They're gonna keep supporting our country as slaves, right? Chattel property. They're our property. They're not even human, you know? So this is, they're using, okay, so now we see that you can't completely ignore race, right? Because they're using that color as justification to keep them as the lower class people. Okay. So yeah, class struggle, right? I mean, it's like humanity again, this is one of our great flaws. We can't escape it. We love power hierarchies. Ancient Egypt to, you know, looking at communism, capitalism, seems to be like, we talk about the middle class a lot. You know, we just say that so normally, but I mean, it's just, it's normal to us, right? It's just kind of how life is. So, yeah, and then I just have to say that, you know, this title says The Ignorant Negro, and there was a quote out of the Haitian Revolution book, but I mean, it's really just ignorant people, because when you look at the class systems, I mean, what are some trends in the class system, right? Education, you know, literacy, being able to read, you know, and it's like, it's so sad that they take advantage of your ignorance, you know?
One day, if you let them.
You know? And that's just what it is. And that's a lot of the times what these class systems result from is just, well, they had some knowledge you didn't, and they use it to their advantage and didn't tell you. They just let you, yeah, how's it going? Mm-hmm. And they just keep it moving, you know? So we saw in Haiti, you know, the population of people that were enslaved, they, knowing only that they want to remain free, yet confused and deceived by all parties. And that's what this piece about the prospect of a Black Republic was equally disturbing to the French, Spanish, and US, and you have to say English as well. They were all trying, they're playing politics. They're playing politics. They have a goal, and it's probably all the same. All the colonists, they all have the same goal, but they're pointing at saying, hey, look at the French, look what they're doing. Come and be with us, you know? But it's like when you don't have the discernment to be like, actually, these people have a common denominator. You know, they're all colonists, and they're not here, you know, to look out for me. You know, you kind of can see through the deception that people are always trying to get one over on you. So I'll end it with the Frederick Douglass quote. And we talk, so these power hierarchies, you know, and people, they want to take advantage of the ignorance, but we see in history, there's always revolutions, because when people find out, you know, they don't just take it. Well, I mean, some people don't have a heart, but thankfully in history, you know, we have some brave and courageous people that have sacrificed for us.
Man.
So Frederick Douglass says, find out just what people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. And these will continue until they are resisted with either words, we're here to talk, you just have a conversation, or blows, or both. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those they oppress. So that's Frederick Douglass. Okay, so let's get into the conversation for the night. We want to address some elephants in the room. And, you know, we're talking about colonists and their revisionist history. But I did see we had a few people join through that. So I will say, Tony, would you like to introduce yourself? Or Mitchell?
Hello.
How's
You
it
guys hear me?
going?
Oh, great. And you actually pronounced my name correctly. Thank you. So I'm Michelle. I'm actually from Region 4, but I saw this, I actually can't remember which social media outlet, and I thought this was really great that you guys were doing this. So I thank you for letting me join, even though I'm not from the region.
This is NSBE love.
The
NSBE
more the
fam.
merrier.
And CJ, I was sorry, I had a phone call come in when you were saying my name, but I just wanted to check in. Haven't sat in a while, and wanted to get some knowledge tonight. So appreciate the conversation.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's get it. So just a few points of history. And I mean, so yeah, we're here, like you guys, we're diving in some territory that is highly disputed. So I'm not coming here, me personally, come at you like I know everything. I'm here to have a conversation. I'm not scared to talk about anything, but I'm not going to definitively say this or that. I have my own opinions, but you have to make your own. The Olmecs were the earliest known Mesoamerican civilization. So we're talking ancient days, 2500 BC or 2500 to 400 BC. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, now we're looking at this. So yeah, the Olmecs, they left behind like 9 foot, 10 foot tall stone heads this is Central America. This is Mexico. Way back then. So, I mean, we look at this sculpture. Anybody want to say what stands out to them?
The facial structure looks like it would be from someone from of African descent. When I look at the nose, the cheekbones, the lips, that's kind of what stands out to me.
Yeah. So that's why we have to have these discussions, because, you know, there's a lot of people that, I mean, yeah, it's up to like, how can we make that determination, right? How do we get the truth on that? So, but yeah, that's that. I mean, you guys should look into it a little more. Olmecs.
It's early art too. That's the proof, you know. I mean, that's the statue. It's just somebody built, you know, molded it, sculpted it.
Yeah, I mean, even they're wearing like a little hat, and this looks like a tassel and like a band. So, yeah. But okay, I'm about to butcher this name. Estevanito the Moor.
Estevanito.
Do you know that name, Tamara?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. Who is this guy?
Well, he was one, according to one of the guys that I interviewed when I was in California. He's a professor, and Estevanico is like one of these conquistadors, or you know, and there's a little bit more into him, but miraculous story.
Yeah, so he sailed with the Spanish to the New World, and what I've heard is that he was able to communicate with the natives using hand signals and indigenous languages. So in our book, Nature Knows No Color Line, we learned about the Moor, and how Moor, it sometimes means Black people, or at least Black people are part of the Moors. The group, Moor is kind of like Muslim. It's almost like Moors versus Christians. That was pretty much the whole like Crusades and all that kind of stuff. So there were some Africans that were Moors. Actually, African Moors invaded Spain and ruled over for 700 years, from 711 to 1492. So, you know, after that, 1492, right, one of them sails to the New World with the Spanish, and is able to communicate with the natives. So, starting to open up a little more. So just a general, I know this is a gimme question, but maybe even like, what's the importance of this? You could add to it. Is it okay to change your opinion with new information?
Yes.
Yes.
Based on
yeah.
truth, yeah.
Go ahead, Tanis, you want to elaborate?
I was saying yes, because let's just say, like, if you didn't have the knowledge, like, prior to, you know, like, your previous opinion, it's just like, oh, okay, well, you know, like, I didn't know what I was talking about. And now that you have new information brought to you, you can just be like, oh, like, I actually understand, you know, what, why, when, and, you know, like, why this happened exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess why I think this is an important question is because a lot of people have a hard time with change in general. I know, you know, my parents, you know, just, I guess me being a little young and growing up with the internet, it's like, hey, I show you something, did you know this? And I mean, it's like at a certain point, they don't even care. Like, they're just stuck in their ways, you know, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. So it's kind of discouraging sometimes. But so I just want to encourage everybody, you know, to not get stuck up in like pride issues, or I mean, I don't even know what is the issue. Like, why do people have a hard time with being able to change their opinions or viewpoints?
I think sometimes it's not a binary thing. I think that one thing that they've kind of made a decision on based on limited information has impact multiple thoughts and multiple actions and multiple beliefs. They're going forward, right? So it's not like I can change my mind and then I may be able to change this one or two things. That previous belief has impact, them either over years even, right? So it kind of makes people question, have I been wrong? Because like people like to think in, black and white, right or wrong. So have I been wrong for all this time? Do I really have the capacity to correct all of these wrongs? And I think that's the part that may become overwhelming, instead of thinking about it in the terms of, I've gotten more information today and I'll do my best going forward.
I think also that's a good point. And I think also people are scared to hear something new, because then, especially if it pertains to them, because now they have to act on it. And a lot of people don't want to change, and or they may not feel the sacrifice enough, to want to sacrifice that and value that a little bit more.
Yeah, this is actually this is deeper than I thought it was. Yeah, that personal responsibility is, I think a big part of it. It's like, even to feel like, to feel that, oh, I was wrong, or like now people want to start like dictating blame and make people feel bad about it. I mean, that doesn't help at all, though. People are like, you didn't know that? Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we can try to help people. I mean, I think that's a cultural best practice, right? Now we're here talking about it, to make sure when you're giving somebody new information, you're doing it in a way that they can actually receive it. Because I feel like a lot of the part is just even the transportation of the information is just like butchered. I mean, we had engineering professors, they're just assholes. So
Right. I went to Tuskegee. I love my professors.
CJ, on that note, Dr. Brian Burt is going to be speaking at the NSBE Town Hall on the 23rd. And he did research on Black engineering students, male students at predominantly white institutions. And he talks about how the atmosphere is, let's see how many people I can fail. Like that's the professor's approach. And
Wow.
weeding people out. Let me see how many people I can get to flunk my class. That makes me feel feel like I'm a great teacher, because a lot of people flunk my class.
That's like
the communal.
I just saw
versus the communal. Black people have more of a communal. Yeah, we have a more communal approach where we want to make sure there's enough for everybody. We don't want to leave anybody behind. So we just have two different philosophies on survival.
That's a good point. And last night when they aired the Tuskegee Airmen, they said that point. They were trying the rate for Tuskegee Airmen to be incorporated into the United States Air Force. It was like it was higher than what the white people were doing. So it is very racist. I think that's really the it. There's a reason why they don't want them to do better, to be. That's the part. I mean, I went to white high school.
There's always that element of, let me separate myself out, have that separation.
So with that, though, I think it's good for us to maybe we don't have to do it out loud, but what are some things that, if commonly known, could change the world for the better? Because especially in 2021, I mean, it's all the information if you haven't caught on yet. Data, information.
Yeah. And who collected it? There could be bias in how it was compile, like that's a new thing too, is responsible intelligence, responsible data, and using it responsibly. So there's a lot of we're realizing now that the racism is not just in your face. It's kind of in the metrics around Black and brown people. It's built into anything that's going to be calculated about us too. We got to look at that. You may have seen recently some NFL players who are suing the NFL because they have concussions. They had concussions. They're older in life now, but they're not going to be able to get paid for their injuries because there's a formula that is used to calculate the cognitive ability and whether or not the concussions affected that. For the Black people, they have a black, I forgot what they call it, but basically the Black effect. They put some extra number in there to determine whether or not they were really capable in the first place. So basically they say, well, it was already not that smart. So this concussion didn't really affect anything. That's basically what it's saying.
Oh my God. Same thing. That's why I say, man, we got to look at the formula and not really the variables because, you know, that's it. It's the same darn game, just different variables.
Different tools. And here in the Research Triangle area, Raleigh-Durham area, our chapter had a seminar on ethics and artificial intelligence. This is a new hot topic.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a member who works at SAS. SAS is one of the top 5 companies to work for in the world. Like all of the coronavirus data that you see on TV, they do all that.
Mm.
And those data scientists, a lot of them are Black, they have found bias in data that's used for like loans and just all kind of stuff. So they're bringing that to light, and they have some webinars that they're doing on it.
Oh, that's awesome. I knew about that because I heard about it one time on the radio show when they talked about the factor, but it is ingrained.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a copy. I'm gonna try to get a copy of the recording from that. It's very interesting to know how much is out there. So basically, artificial intelligence like Alexa or apps, there's bias in what they. According to Alexa, you hear Alexa talking when I said her name. They yeah. See, listen to what I'm saying about
on that bias. It's like
there's bias in how that's been programmed.
Well, it stems from the people, I mean, that's the whole issue. I brought this to at the USPTO. We had at the Smithsonian, I brought this topic of AI up. That's a separate, but people know about it. But yeah, it gets at the source of the people that's behind it all. We had our symposium about, I think it was 2017.
Yeah, I love talking to you guys because there's just so many things to talk about. I want to bring us back a little bit because we're here today to talk about Black people being in the Americas before Columbus. So we always hear that people got Indian in their family. And it's kind of like, I don't know how you guys look at it, but for a while, it's like people would like laugh at that, right? So I'll offer you guys a chance. Anybody got Indian in their family or their grandma says so?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So I do on both sides, and on my paternal side, it was more spoken about. But on my maternal side, I actually found a picture of my great grandfather. And that came out when I asked my mom, who is this? And she explained it to me. So I was like, well, why don't we ever say it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm dark skinned. My mom is dark skinned. Most of my siblings are. And her response is, when the world looks at you, they're going to see a Black woman. So do you want to have this fight of trying to prove you're Indian or Native American when they see a Black woman, regardless of what you say? So to your point, you know, people do laugh at that, and I can see it both ways. Of sometimes people also have some self-hate where they want to be something other than, and
Yep.
even if they can say this 8%, you know, or even less, right? Or 16%, I'm Native American, you know, that gives them some type of gratification in some way. So it's funny for me to remember how confused I was. I think I was probably 12 or 13ish or something, having that conversation with my mom. And then as a woman, fully understanding what she was saying, is like, yeah, that was a fight that I'm just not, I don't care to have, or I didn't care to have, because I followed her advice, of course, right? But I can see that people want to be something other than, because of that self hate of just being Black or being African or what have you.
I agree with that totally. I think for Black people, having to say, being able to say you have something in you other than Black, people feel like that gives them like some kind of a badge or credential versus really embracing it as a culture. Now, I know a lot of Black people probably do and can't prove it. And one reason it is hard to prove genetically is because I've actually had done like the DNA test from Ancestry.com, as well as AfricanAncestry.com for all four of my grandparents. And I know once you get your results, there's like a Facebook page you can go on, and you know, people put their information out there. Some people are mad because the results don't say that they have Cherokee or Chickasaw or whatever they think they're supposed to have, but they have to have enough indigenous people um, living today to get data points to match your samples. And just because it doesn't show doesn't mean it didn't occur. It's just that there's not enough evidence to prove it that it's statistically there. So a lot of people get all bent out of shape over that.
Yep.
But you know, I just said that to say, when you meet someone who is truly, and I say truly, like it's no doubt, like they actually have a card for the ethnic group that they are part of, the recognized Native American group, and they still go to activities and ceremonies. And they still they have a community. There's a lot of Native Americans here in North Carolina, and I'm not doing any of that. I mean, I was told that we have Cherokee, but I'm not going around saying we got Cherokee. I'm not involved in any Cherokee activities. I'm not involved in any Asian activities. I had a little bit of that. I'm not involved in any white activities, you know. So, you know, unless I'm going to actively be doing something to, you know, connect with it, I don't really see a point in, you know, trying to, you know, say, hey, yeah, I'm a part of this, I'm a part of that. And they get offended by it too, because I know a Chickasaw lady, and she did a tour for us in Williamsburg, Virginia. I went there to try to find Jamestown, because that is where the first slaves came in, and she was the tour guide for much of that, and she had a lot of history on that, and she, you know, gave us a lot of insight on, you know, they have monthly powwows, and there's things that they do to try to maintain their heritage. So people not involved in that, I'm just like, there's no reason to be going around saying you're Indian if you're not like doing those things that Indian Native Americans do. So
I would
most of
like
them
to.
recognize
Oh,
have a
I'm sorry.
card. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just kind of wanted to add on to that. A lot of people, like when they see me, they automatically, like, I've had like coworkers, like even like some friends before, they would ask me, they're like, you have really nice hair, like what do you mix with? And I
Oh,
actually have Indian in my family because I'm natural. So they're just like, oh wow, like you really have nice hair, like you got to be mixed with something. And I'm just like, why can't I just be Black? Why can't I just be African American? Like, what's the issue? Like, why can't a Black girl just have, you know, like nice, natural, long hair. And then they're like, oh, well, you have freckles. Like, you got to have something. And like I said, I do have Indian in my family, but I'm just like, I don't really know much about it. So it's no need to run around and say, oh, well, yeah, I have Cherokee Indian in my family. And, like we're from here and we're from there, because I don't have too much knowledge on it, because my great grandmother, she passed away before I was to get, like kind of learn more about that heritage from her. So it's actually like offensive to me, because I'm just like, what's the problem? I'm like, like Black people, we come in different shapes, forms, sizes, long
Yep.
hair, short hair, kinky,
Right.
curly
Even
hair.
from Africa.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm like, I've
Right.
seen like Black people
Yeah, you
with
don't have to have
naturally blonde hair before. So I'm just like, what's the
exactly.
problem?
It's the education.
Yeah, you don't have to be. Yeah, I was gonna say you don't have to have Indian in you or some other ethnicity. You can be from Africa and have that. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, 100%. You don't have to
Yeah.
have had some other, ethnicity gene in you to change your hair texture.
Yeah.
So
It's just all about learning your
I got
hair
in a
too.
Yep.
Yep. And I got in a cab one time at a NSBE conference, and a guy said, what part of Ethiopia are you from?" And I was like,
Oh,
"I'm
wow.
Ethiopian."
He looked like
He was like,
everybody.
"Let me see your siblings. You got pictures? Let me see." He's like, he said, "You have some Eastern African in you. You have some," and that's what set me out on, let me try to figure this out. He gave me some numbers and some people to contact, and he was right. So 5 years later, it is some Ugandan.
Okay.
That is one of the Eastern, Eastern Sub-Saharan Africa. But yeah, he was just like, "What Ethiopia are you from?" He was just driving like I was going to give him a city or something. I was like, "I'm from North Carolina." He was like, "You're not from Africa." I was like, "I am, but I've never been there."
Yeah.
So I was just as happy about that,
I'm glad to hear these stories, because I had the same. That's why that's why I did this book. Part of why I did this book, but I'll save my to the presentation. But yeah, I ditto everybody from Michelle. Is that how she said? Is it or Michelle?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, and
Michelle.
yep, Tony and everyone and Tiny. So I always got that. I start off with that in the second book that I have is, what are you mixed with? What do you mean? I mean, yeah, we look like everybody, because we produce every
world.
the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
why.
this is getting into the whole nature knows no color line book. We read it's color, it's irrelevant. Like, we're the human family, the human race. That's the one race. And this is, so just to kind of go big picture again, like, this is a very crucial moment, because actually Tamara went to law school. So we're going to talk a little bit about status, right? So if our families do have Native in their bloodline, but they're being Indigenous, there's benefits and privileges that are different between the two, right? So legally, that's a big deal. And that's where I would stress it at, right? Like, yes, I mean, it's like, okay, 15%, 5%, it's taxing. Like, I don't really even care to go that far back into the future, but we're talking about righting these wrongs. It has to be done a lawful way. The law matters. And this is where, in the Haitian Revolution, we saw them break the population up into all these different, he's a mulatto, he's a quadrant or whatever. He's, this person's 16th. And they're all different though, right? It's a social, economical caste system and hierarchy, class,
Yep.
So with that, we're gonna kick it to Tamara.
Okay.
Yeah, Tamara is the author of our casual book selection, Who is the Black Queen Calafia of Golden, California, the real Wonder Woman. She's also the founder of California Is Me, and Tamara's on the front lines of, hey, get it right legally. I want it in writing. And yeah, we're gonna pass it over to you, Tamara, so you can share a little bit more about what you've been up to.
Okay, thanks. Hi everybody. I'm so happy to see this group growing. I mean, when we started, it was crazy. It was just three of us, and now look. So, you know, what one person does takes off, another person can, you know, who knows where else we can go with that. So thank you for the invite. How do I share my screen again? Oh, share screen.
Yeah.
But my thing isn't up there.
What thing?
My presentation's not going up there. Let me pause. Oh no. I can't figure out how to
You
do
see, it should be
sure.
Did you see it before you shared?
It's not on here. I see my screen, but my presentation isn't on here. Like what I have up yesterday, remember, or the day before yesterday when we did it, it was up. It was up.
Do you see the one when you get to share the far left corner? The desktop is the one in the far left. You see it on your desktop?
Yeah, but it's not there. I'll just go to files. Is that what you want me to do? Or
well, if you have, do you have the presentation up on your desktop?
yeah, I
I
have.
see it.
What do you
Yeah,
see?
I just saw it. You didn't see it?
What do you see?
Presentation. PowerPoint.
What's it say? Is it
Censored?
there we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do a this will not be, and please unmute yourselves because I want to make sure, I want to take this off too. I want to take off the music because it's just the Wonder Woman music. It is more dramatic with it. But I don't know how to, does anyone know how to maybe, if I decrease the sound, then you won't hear me, right? Yeah.
What are you trying to determine?
No, we should still be able to.
If I decrease the sound, how do I do that? I didn't think about that till now.
You got something you're trying to play, like an audio?
There we go. I think that does it. Yeah. Or maybe I just delete it. How about that? This will be part one because I'm not finished with the second book yet because of COVID. The editor is behind. So I'll be doing some of the stuff I'll just be talking about because I cannot divulge what I have right now. So we're just gonna do it part one, and then when I get when I get everything else, it'll be part two. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I was trying to, but I'll give you a little bit. California censored. That's what we termed it in law school. Professor Dyson, you guys can see this, right? Okay, and then you can undo your. This is interactive, so undo your. Unmute everyone. I want people to talk because I'll be asking questions. Okay, so California censored. Queen Calafia is the woman behind. Okay, there we go. The real Wonder Woman. Oh my Lord. I don't know how to delete it. I just want to get rid of the sound.
Is it like every slide or what?
It's playing in the background.
Like on every slide?
Yeah. Let me see.
Just take it out of presentation mode.
There we go. Yeah, see it keeps. Yeah, I want to take it out of the presentation. So I'm gonna have to take it. I'm gonna have to delete
like
it.
If you go to your volume mixers for your computer sounds, you can just mute PowerPoint. Or you should.
Oh, really? That's what I was asking. Well, oh well, that's okay. I deleted. So California censored. So Queen Calafia, she's the real Wonder Woman behind the Great Seal of California. Eureka! I found it, and you can see the African hieroglyphics there. So my disclaimer: all that I express here is not of the federal government or the USPTO or any connection with them. Proprietary rights are to myself, and California is me. So the agenda would be broken down into introduction. And again, this is going to be because I don't know how many are, raise your hands, how many are attorneys or law people, law school, or anyone. So we're just not going to go into that. Okay. Now I just want to keep that brief, and I try to weave in the engineering and then solutions and questions at the end. So I want to move this over. Okay, there we go. Or maybe move it. How do I move? Oh, I cannot see my words now that okay, I'm gonna put it at the bottom. There we go. with the Zoom. So yeah, I started I own and founded California is me, because I was like, oh my God, you know, who goes around, you know, telling us what the meaning of these, you know, this word, you know, the states mean. So you know, I started at this back in 2016. It was just Black girls, you know, that, oh, that's cool. And then, you know, as I kept doing the research and things just kept happening to me, and I kept getting connected to different people, you know, it's like a God just was like, woo, 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 woo. And then I put it down and I just thought, oh, nobody's gonna care, you know, but then people started to care. CJ was one of them. And
Hey,
so
Tamara, what did you put down? And like, can you maybe introduce your work first?
what do you
Or
mean?
like, yeah, what you put, I mean, I guess I didn't understand, like, what did you discover?
No, I'm gonna break it down. Can you please just unless it's about the presentation, let me, because it's a lot to get through and I'm gonna try to get it down. But just you know, yeah, just about California, the definition, the California, the definition. So and that, you know, I'm gonna break it down. we gonna go through that later. But that's what I meant by that. Did I answer your question?
Mm.
Okay, so then when Christian recognized the work, and then I stepped into, well, I was always examining, and then as a USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, we do intellectual property with patents and trademarks. I am a patent examiner, was, and then we co-founded Create with NSBE with Jesse and Fenty and CJ Kirk. So we just, it just is becoming bigger and bigger, and I'll share that with you in my part two. But I went to law school 2017 to 2019, and my home state is Kansas City, Missouri. And I got my bachelor's in chemical engineering from Tuskegee. So the background of, we're going to step into that. And now you guys can ask questions if you want now, just of the slide material. And then we'll save the big questions, you know, till later if you can, because I want to step, I've given this presentation so many times on the Hill to at the University of San Diego when I was invited back. So just, you know, if you got some questions to the slide, let's keep it to that. And then, you know, I'll answer the rest of them just so I can keep online if you can. So California is the most visited state in the United States, right? It has a unique name and origin. California, California, okay? Originated and invented in 1510 in a Spanish novel. Okay, that was the name itself. So it was recorded in history, but a lot of us don't speak Spanish. I took Spanish. So, but I'm very, you know, not that great in it, but so they transferred the name California from this novel that Hernan Cortez read, and a lot of other people. And the conquistadors then, you know, with the conquering, it traveled up in history to statehood from Mexico to the United States. 1850. So Queen Calafia, she is as is described in the book, a fictitious ruler of California. But she has many cultural roots. Arabic, Caliph, is the prefix for Caliph, and it's a male leader. And I put the Arabic there from my friend at the PTO. So Spanish, the and again, that's male, not female. The denotes the female when you take Spanish, and then the African is the original conception. So when you bring all that in, the blend of the word California. So it's a present day, we all know it, you know, but it's based on this, you know, mythical name of California. Any questions? Okay, the Spanish, this is Old Spanish on your left of the screen. Okay, so in Spanish, Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo, he wrote this book, and in it, he described in one of the chapters the first time ever that it was recorded. This is what it said. Sabe que a la diestra mano de las Indias existe una isla llamada California, muy cerca de una costado del Paradiso Terrenal, y estaba poblada por mujeres negras. When I saw that, I said, ah! Oh my God, who's going around telling us that a U.S. California, name has Black women in there? And I immediately, took to it, and I've interviewed people, at the embassy and thus Spanish embassy and thus forward. And, the English man, Dr. Reverend Edward Everett Hale, praise be to God for this man. He, in 1800s, he decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and translate that. And he wrote a couple of articles. So this is the English. Know then that on the right hand of the Indies, there's an island called California, very close to the site of the terrestrial paradise. It was peopled by Black women, beautiful. Bayos is another one, Robusta Cuerpos, de las Amazonas. So how do you guys feel about that, reading this? And, how do you feel about yourself when you read that, hey, they had, they lived in the fashion of the Amazons. They're beautiful, strong, courageous, hardworking, women, and they had this island of gold and the strongest in all the world, can I get some unmutes, and how do you feel about that? And was it ever told to you or taught to you?
I would say that no, this was never told to me or taught to me. And I don't know, I guess like I felt kind of like seen in some way, because I see myself as like a valuable person and a hardworking person. And yeah, like Black women are just known to work hard. So I thought that was interesting reading that.
Good. You feel valued. Okay. Another, get another adjective out there. And the identity of a Black woman, strong. And anybody else feel any kind of way about or know any kind of thing? Huh?
Oh.
Michelle?
Yeah, I was saying I appreciate hearing it. I haven't heard it, and I think we're not written in such a positive light anyway. So
Yep.
especially when it's dated back this far, and he's writing about his exploration and his immediate thoughts of when he sees Black women. I think we need to hear more stories about it, because we're just not portrayed that way. Or even the point of the fashion of Amazons and being strong and things of that nature, it's somehow has been masculine, become like a masculine attribute to us, and stripped of our femininity if it is mentioned. So I like hearing it in the balance of, yes, they have strength and they're working hard, but look how beautiful they are, and look how Black they are, and just their bodies in a positive way for us to adorn instead of molest in some way.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. I love this. Oh, I'm so happy I'm around my people, because given this presentation, y'all probably like, I think the second or third group that's just predominantly Black women. So yeah, it's like, ooh, well, you love reading and hearing it. I was so shocked, and I was just dumbfounded. So I'm like, hey, somebody should be writing about this. And I'll give you a little background. So when I found out about it, I was like, oh, I said, I know what you guys, hid this from us. So I'm gonna write, y'all confuse us in English. I'm gonna write in, in my equations. So I took to algebra, and I decided to put it on a shirt, because when I went to Friendship Heights, NSBE is where I actually DC when I was tutoring. And, about 3 other people, and Kenny had said to me, and I think I want to say, I forgot her name, starts with a G. I think there was one other woman there from NSBE tutoring, and I want to say Guinevere. And then there was another we still keep in contact. Anyway, they heard this Black girl. When I gave them this formula, and I just decided to, try to help them understand that we are the summation proof, right? So you got CT on the bottom there, the sigma, And, you know, for California established 1510, M is for the M squared, right? Mythical, majestic, B squared, beautiful, black, W squared, women warriors, and GPA, because we're smart, we done figured it out, golden passionate Amazons, or golden powerful Amazons, as my little friend said. So, you know, this, that would help them, I just wanted to help them understand before they do all of the, you know, integration of that, but to understand like, hey, at the basis, you know, where you take these variables out, it can mean anything. That's something that we were always taught, you know, as engineers. So just, you know, to kind of help them understand that, just a fun formula, and hey, it's going to go into infinity. This is our great, you know, definition. Now I thought to myself, if it was Kansas or Missouri where I'm from, would I be like that excited? Probably so, but California, like, oh my God. So she said, she replied, you know, they don't do nothing for Black girls. They don't do nothing for Black girls. And I said, you're right. And I just started, I put a little bit of that in my second book. And so I decided I'm gonna do something. And then when I went to school, so it's been building since 2016. So the background on this seal though, this is very important, and I really want to let you guys know, I've been hearing all the, you know, comments about your Indian heritage, and I have the same story, you know, and you know, nobody talks about it much. So, you know, you don't want to talk about that indigenous part because we don't know. That's really it. We don't know. And a lot of people ignore the data. Let's just say that. And so I'm happy to, hopefully you guys will get some pride in this, and we can act for what has gone on. So September 9th, 1850, right? This Virginia Confederate soldier designs the seal. We all know that imagery is a lot more powerful than words, right? So framing and identifying the issue, which we all know as engineers, the problem. So we know that there's an opportunity. Some people don't like to say, you know, as an industry, they're like, oh, don't say problem, say opportunity. So we have an opportunity for change. Over 500 years, a wrong has occurred from ancient history to present day, has yet to be fixed. So I'm going to highlight some of those unknown facts, and basically has to do with cultural whitewashing and our challenge now with California. So reveal the seal. I had as a hashtag, or justice for Queen Calafia, Cali is me. Those are another hashtags. I've been hashtagging it up, but need help. So what's wrong with this seal, guys? We see, right, that if you just heard the definition, what do we see? We see a woman with a golden staff, right? And she's got her golden, you know, helmet and the gold breastplate and the gold shield, everything but the golden black skin, you know. And this is the pamphlet in 2010. This ain't like, I mean, it's still crazy that this is still going. So now I'm gonna need y'all to pay attention here on what to, very closely. So I said, what does California have to say about this? So I go online, I say, oh, wow, you know, the name of our state dates back to, okay, you know, a length of controversy. Like, what's controversial? We just read, it said Black women, right? Land of Black women. I'll see what's the big controversy. So then this is the problem. And I want to see if you guys can pick it out. 1862, that was the guy I told you about, Edward Everett Hale, but they only meant, there's so many things wrong with this, but I don't even want to get into it. I break it down in my book, but that we'll just go with what they said. So now I want you guys to see what's wrong with this text. Okay, can anybody, I'm gonna go to the next one so we can get, all I did was just zoom in there, okay, to the left of that picture. And you notice that it's so crazy, right? That they have the look at that picture they put up there. It's just, I don't want to. So let's just look at compare the two. All right, now this, I'm going to give y'all intellectual property 101. On the left side is the original novel. That is what we call prior art. On the right side, California Senate, this is what they did later in time. Okay, so as an examiner, what we do is we compare, you know, what was already out there, and then what someone now is claiming as their invention. So what do you see about the difference between these two passages and what the California Senate says and what we know is in the original novel? And I took this source to from what I've been collecting all over, and Afro newspaper did a article on me too, an interview. It's called Real meaning of California is Black Girl Magic. So what do you guys see in the comparison? Okay, who sees, let's look at that first line, right? So know then that there's on the right hand of the Indies, there's an island called California. Okay, what do we see on their side? Anybody want to see the bit? Anyone would just blurt out what is the apparent discrepancy between the two?
It doesn't mention the color of the women at all.
There
And
you
in
go.
fact, they don't even say women. they say manless instead of women.
Well,
Yeah.
they say women, but they say passionate race of men. They're describing it, but yeah, Black women is left out. So we have our identity is stricken from this. I would say, as we all know, we were all proud, like, oh, hey, Black women, you know, we identify with that term.
The word swarthy though, what does that word mean?
Exactly. So then you start going in and you're like, wait a minute, this is an antiquated term. And when you read this, basically, it's a pejorative terminology for Black women. And so when you see swarthy, that is an ancient term. Like, I think it turned up last with Shakespeare, you know, in a play. Robust, passionate race of women, you know, living manless like Amazons. But the big thing that I don't think anybody else want to comment on what they've done. My little niece caught this, cousin caught this, and another older woman who knew. What do you guys see in that first sentence? Anything else?
The east of Eden.
There you go. Okay, why that?
Well, Eden is in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And the left side says a terrestrial paradise, very close to the terrestrial paradise is saying that instead of the east of Eden. Other than it's the, you know, that is where the mother of Earth was.
Yeah, they said that it's the location too. So East of Eden is actually a book that this is written by a California author, and they want to try to make it seem like, oh yeah, you know, we're doing what's right, you know, we've got, you know, but they flipped it. So you notice on the left it says right hand of the Indies. So if you just think the Indies on the right hand side of that, that's not west of the Indies. That's actually the reverse. Right. You see, right? So they do little slick stuff like that to confuse the lazy eye. And people that aren't, you know, as an examiner, we look at this stuff with a fine tooth comb and with the eye. Every word has a meaning, you know, and a claim as but the biggest thing that is the difference that no one has said yet, the quotations marks. I learned this in the high school, that you cannot do this. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe they did this. They basically, there's this nice, glorious meaning on the left, and it's full of tons of words, right? And then you got this one on the right that's got quotations. It wasn't cited, so it's illegal to do that. And that's called plagiarism. So there's a ton more else, but we'll keep it moving. So that's good. At least you guys are seeing a little bit of what the issues are. So basically the true definition and image has gone ignored. The current name nor the image in the Great Seal of California actually reflects the true definition and meaning of the word and its, you know, in its imagery. So the text is factually inaccurate and it has been distorted and the image has been erased. And of course we know it's racist. So the timeline of coinciding events, of course, we should note that in the 1500s, there's this transatlantic slave trade of Blacks going on. And that's, you know, when I just started to, you know, I sunk. Now, since then, I know a lot more, but like I said, I saved that to because it's a lot more. But that's what was going on during that time also. So it's kind of like, dang, you know, like this gets back to a huge issue that we have. And, you know, like I said, I won't get into the legalities of it, but we definitely need to expose it now that we have been educated about it. So 1860s, Reverend Edward Hale, he shines a light on it, you know, during the Civil War. And then 1940s, there's Wonder Woman is created, right? And during segregation, there's the Tuskegee Airmen's integrated, Detroit riots. So this guy, he asked, and in your book, you can turn to one of the pages, and I think I put that in there. You know, he's like, hey, you know, after this description, Arthur goes on to introduce us to our queen. Observe, O reader, that although very black and very large, she is very beautiful. Why do not powers carve his statue of California out of the blackest of Egyptian marbles? Try once more, Mr. Powers. We have found her now. And when I saw that, I did not recognize the text. Does anybody know? Well, the hint is there anyway, but is Grecian for Eureka. And my friend at the U.S. Department of the State Department told me about this. And anyone want to comment on that at all? What do you think Reverend Hale was doing when he wrote that?
Well, I guess, I mean, saying Eureka, he feels like he made a big discovery. Like he felt like he did something really big.
Okay. Anybody else? Why would he have written this in 1864?
What is the context of this though? This is him writing like what?
He wrote this in his article. And he charged people with the question, you know, and he wrote it in his definition, you know, in the definition of California. And I think I put that in the book, but it's the Queen of California in his article. So he was writing, you know, yeah, I put it on page 56. This is where you'll find the I went to the Library of Congress to get this by microfiche. So I stumbled upon something else too while I was in there, but that's another story too. But anybody want to guess like why he would do that? He's a reverend, he's a writer, but what is he just trying to do? Well, I'll just save that. No one wants to say, Mitchell?
No, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly if this is what you're looking for, but I guess when I read it, it's challenging, right? That there has been a narrative about the Black woman, and they're saying, well, you know, yes, she's very Black and very large, but look how beautiful she is, and this is how we should honor her with the blackest Egyptian marble. You know, I found her, right? Like I have proof that she exists. So that's what I get from it when I read it.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And then yeah, it's very challenging. And the reason he's challenging also is not just his yeah, he put the two things that struck out to me because I didn't know what that was, Eureka. I didn't know that was Grecian. And I wondered to myself, why would he do that? Why would he switch from writing in English to writing in Grecian? Because maybe there's an answer there. He also put in Egyptian. So very keen, man, when you think about intellectual property and what we do and how, you know, that's a boy, that right there, when I saw it, I was like, and I told my aunt, she was like 92 at the time, I think. She said, Tammy, you better go and, you're trying to shake up history. That's what she said. You shaking up history. She said, you better go and figure out what it means. So that's what I did, but I'll diverse it. That's a lot of other, but just to get, yeah, I guess the short of it to challenge our minds. But there's an answer in that. So to an ignorant person who knows nothing of, you know, and Tuskegee's about, you know, lifting the veil of ignorance, I had to realize, oh gosh, I'm ignorant on this. And as engineers, we don't get this, you know, history background. And so, yeah, it's a lot of truth in just how he framed that in his challenging question, as Queen Michelle just said. So, okay, so systematic African-American oppression, we've got the 1500s, right? European slavery, 1849, the whitewash, majority whitewash, California still is created. California becomes a state in 1850. And then, you know, we just keep an Emancipation Proclamation, 1863. The Reconstruction, Jim Crow era, you know, all these stages of just, you know, of us trying to break through. And so I say, hey, until the civil rights movement, but as this has been traveling, of course, we hear the hate speech and such, and educational violence and all these things are increasing, the incarceration. So you got to kind of want to understand, like, wait a minute, what happened? I thought we were royal and regal. Like, what happened to this? And these positive things. And then, so basically, this ignorance and denial of our contributions, in history has occurred, right? So you got it subjugated worldwide in 1500s, but the Spanish man writes this, great, powerful novel. And 1850, they get their statehood, and they carry all the gold, of California, but yet the black of the women, plural, as I love to say, because that's why I say California is me. I got my other trademark, I am Calafia, but my first one was, oh my God, and that puts an imprint on it, on America, right? So 1860, the Civil War, we have this morality, this challenge of our nation, and this American slavery for the most part. In 1940s, we have continued marginalization, oppression, omission of the fact. And I guess no one said it, but when we read that, anyone who knows the story of Wonder Woman, when they read that, a lot of people that know that story say, hey, or that have read that comic say, hey, that's Wonder Woman, and I grew up a little bit like that because my brothers were into comics. So, but a lot of intellects, a lot of them don't get into the comic, and vice versa. So, because we don't have that intersectionality, we just don't, a lot of times get this middle of the, and we miss a great and a grand teaching of lost Black history, but we're reviving it. So 2000s, we have pervasive ignorance of Black achievement by Blacks themselves and the general public. And to date, no corrections have been made. In reality, we put the wonder in Wonder Woman, and we're getting no credit. So for my engineers, I tried to teach this at my Thomas Jefferson School of Law in San Diego, but I know you guys will get it. So basically, I just assigned a factor, right? It's just like, okay, well, the height of who we are was of knowledge. So I did a knowledge versus time and the x-axis just to, as it's been going, and I, public knowledge, and I gave things a factor so that we could see that, in 1510 here, we have a height, it was at 3, there was everyone knew it, and people were reading this novel, not just Hernan Cortez, but all the ships that were coming over here, which is part of the problem also. But people knew it, and so, but then, after 1510, we get this decline, right? Because 1849, we have this guy that comes in, and he maliciously misrepresents, which is what I've been told about, misrepresent the history, right? Which that's another, I said I wasn't going to talk law, so let me not. And then then 1959 we go up, and people have also made another dab at, hey, let's talk about, this California Black women equation. But then since then, it gets lost. So we have that slope, that negative slope there from 59 to 2017. While we have this other one on the right, there's our opportunity to get back up to that 1510 or higher, because as we see here, where we're getting more educated, of course, because back then only the kings and queens and the popes and the people with power were reading and had the books, and so because of that, now that the general public is gradually becoming more aware, we should be, learning about this stuff. But the problem with knowledge and ignorance, silence and inaction is just is fueling this racism. So that's really a big issue. So now we're going to move to the cultural implications of all of this. Hope you guys are understanding it a little bit more. So this also makes it kind of clear too, right? We were only taught English. We're stripped of our native mother tongue. And so in Africa, you got all these Africans that are outnumbering the Europeans, which is according to this chart here, of which they started recording. You know, we always have to remember that. And I'm going to try to get through these a little faster. So the breakdown of how this gets woven into Wonder Woman, the formula is this. Neith is the African Egyptian goddess. And then their equivalent to that, she's, the wisdom and war equivalent. And then Athena is who the Grecians are, you know, say that they, so then that's in the parentheses there, for the equivalency. So then you add in Hathor, and their equivalency is, you know, Aphrodite, which is Greek's one, but, you know, Africa's Egypt is goddess of love. And then, you know, this is all equal to Queen Calafia, which would be the black version of the African, you know, elements over there, which equal to the variables over there, which equal to Wonder Woman, which is essentially the same. So they just repackaged it. So I ran off, and I have to give credit to my friend that helped me, my ex that helped me, was at the Pentagon. So I said, hey, you know, he was entering the law school too. I worked in intelligence, and said, hey, you know, you ought to go to Library of Congress. So I ran up there, you know, and got the very first issue. And then I see this and I'm like, oh my God, you know, you got real Black slaves that were actually getting branded. And, you know, a lot of professors have really loved this slide. Actually, I'll stop and see what you guys think of it. Because you've got the woman, you know, the white woman, she's in chains and, you know, says this. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it makes the question like, are any ideas original? And I'm really not too familiar with Wonder Woman though, so I might be missing a few things.
Okay.
I think it's like whitewashing our history, like the same way like sometimes I forget what, I know it was a movie that was based in Egypt, like a Pharaoh movie or something like that, and like all the actors were, you know, Caucasian, and it was just like, this is not historically accurate at all.
Exactly. Yep. It is, and they do it with comics, and they do it, you know, with, but what another law professor told me, with real history. And so you get these overlaps, and yes, CJ, you start to wonder, yeah, what is you know, but again, there's nothing new under the sun, you know. But this one had a real impact, which I never thought of it. There's another, oh, I could break this. There's a lot of stuff going on wrong with this, but like all these images, all this stuff, basically they're taking it from Africa or Black people. And it's kind of sick if you think about it, because they're making this white woman now out to be this victim, you know. And yeah, when we actually endured it. So it's kind of sad. And then a law professor actually said, gosh, you know, this slide is also telling, because it's kind of, you know, like what they're doing, you know, trying to decrease Black women, period, and their babies and things. So I didn't even get that from that. But so anyway, you'll see this on page, I think 44. And I tried to break that down. So I'm just gonna, you know, since you guys already have it, then you can run through these, but I'll just quickly, you know, hey, you know, Wonder Woman had a Paradise Island. Oh, really? Circa 1940. Well, the 1510, the Queen Calafia and Black women, they had a terrestrial Paradise Island. And then the ruler of the island of California, you know, then she has a one off the, and then I think the biggest one, the golden arms and the weaponry and the shield and the iconic sword and this, you know, the rope of truth is really more like, well, who here knows Wonder Woman or has seen Wonder Woman and can comment on that? I want to see if someone comment on that. Now that you know, I want to hear what you guys have to say on that iconic, you know, rope of truth. And I'm gonna finish up the rest, and then the golden, you know, arms and you know, it's just replete with so many overlaps of what is essentially the same, you know, You've got Queen is a wonder to women, and now her name is Wonder Woman, when she gets a crown. And then, the real women, are the chains and slavery. And then those represent chains of prejudice and male superiority have been in the what Wonder Woman's whole, chain thing means, but it's just basically making a mockery also of us in this way. It's really intellectually, it really has hurt me. I don't like to talk about it because I really get kind of upset. But on the other side, hey, it's open in our copyright. When I put my intellectual property hat on, copyright does allow for you to write a story, and so it's just up to us now to tell the story, which is what I'm trying to do now. But the traits really of Queen Calafia is like a Serena Williams, and not necessarily what we see, because her traits are she's not petite and powerful, and her hair is not blonde Wonder Woman. So what do y'all think about the iconic gold rope of truth, the lasso of what do you think?
I think that makes me think of the whips of slavery, right? And to your point, that mockery piece, where even in the movies and things, like she yields her lasso for different things, like to either capture people or whatever the case may be. But it definitely resembles a whip itself, and in that time, like that's what was hurting our people. And then the point that they name it lasso of truth, right, as though that's the way that it should be, or this is the righteous path of where we should be going. And sorry that I'm thinking off the top of my head, so this probably isn't across as eloquent as it should be, but that's the way I'm thinking about it, where it's pretty insulting from the name itself, and then looking at it and thinking about how she uses it is just it's an insult to Black women, especially since a white woman is the one who's using it on everything else.
On point, Queen Michelle. Oh my God, thank you. Exactly. When I grew up, I was like, oh, Wonder Woman. And I grew up like when the series came out, and I was last on it. Tell the truth. They still the truth. Oh, it is. And so the question is, do you see any Black women in the seal? Anybody?
I think I almost see the little person in blue sitting on the edge. I don't know. Is that a person like on the floor, on the ground rather?
Well, if that's the meaning of California, then that's a pretty slick way of showing it, considering that you have Queen Calafia there, not even representing her golden Black skin. But no, when you zoom in on that, that's a little gold miner. That's who that is.
Oh, okay.
So no, the answer is no. You do not see any Black women in the seal. The name and the image do not match. So the warrior woman, in reality, as historically accurate, is the Black Queen Calafia and all her Black California, island, and they're not Black as shown in the seal. So the textual etymology and the definition of the name California at its basic level means a golden island of beautiful, Black, strong, courageous women. You just is absent from that seal. And you know why he did it, and you can speculate why he did it, but anyone knowing history knows what the Confederacy stood for. So the Roman goddess Minerva is a synchronized version of the Greek goddess Athena. That's another way of how they're saying it too. And that she was really this African Neith goddess, but that's also a Black woman, and is just basically ignored. That's what this Turkish lady told me when I was trying to figure out, like, why is this? And I was taking around, all my stuff in the beginning to people in DC, and I mean, there we can just, it's so fast to get information and share it and solve a problem, because there's people from all over the place. So I went to my and to go back, on that, let me go back. An Egyptologist lived in my building. He's from Egypt himself, I think, and he's Arabic and Muslim. And he was telling me, because I couldn't figure out why you know, back in the day, what was the, you know, why Black women, and why I didn't even see that in myself. You know, I just couldn't make the connection. And he was trying to tell me, well, Tamara, remember back in that day, you know, when they're in the 1500s, you've got, you know, people that hadn't even seen Africa, you know, Africans, that, you know, they want to write about, you know, this beauty that's like seeing an Apple computer. Because I kept saying, well, why are they saying, you know, round and large and all those, believe it or not, but every single layer in that definition, and I break it down, it's so deeper. It's so deeper. But yeah, you're getting it, Michelle. Like this, I'm telling you, these people, whew, the legal implications. So basically, as we've seen, so I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and copyright and make a new one, because to be representative of the history. So this is what it should look like on the right, something like this. I went in, I was so upset, and I got a brother that worked at Disney, and he helped me. He and I just kept saying, no, she's got to be, you know, you know, she was a queen, and this part of Ethiopia, and you know, this part of the Golden Island, and Black women. I was like, California should look like this, you know. And so he finally, oh, he was so cold. I was so happy of him. What do you guys think of the past and the future? What would you like to see as far as what accurate representation, and why? And you know, is there anything else maybe I missed in there? We could still try to add, you know, we haven't gone up to them yet. What do you guys think on the seal? Do you want it to stay on as the one on the left, or do you like the one on the right, or you like the one on the left? Think it should not change, or what's your what do you guys think now that you know the truth of the meaning of the word?
I like that the land is actually gold on the right one.
Okay.
Yeah, it just highlights that factor that, you know, that's what California was known for and was exploited for as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I also too like having the Black woman in the background.
Okay.
Yo, that's exactly what I was gonna key in on, because we talk so much about, like, you know, Black kings and queens, but that queen and king is like the top of the iceberg for the whole nation, right? So just to see that she got people behind her, like, hey, we with it. That's what excites me, you know, to see some unity.
Yep. Okay, thanks. And yeah, I made sure he put, you know, he went in, and I was like, yeah, you know, he got the different shades of us too, you know, the style, hairstyles and all that. I really loved it. So I'm very proud of this one. I copywrote it. I tried to get this one trademarked, but instead they gave me the other one. And if I'd known that, I would have did it differently. But I still have this under copyright. It filed for a trademark, and that's another intellectual property story. But at least I got 1 out of 2. So that's not bad. And we'll move forward with that, the one on that we have now. And that's on calliasme.com when you guys go there. So, you know, basically we have accurate seal that now it looks incorrect, right? And yeah, well, I said I wasn't gonna get too much in the league, but 14th Amendment equal protection claim, we should have a right to feel, and the reason a lot of, you know, you might not know it, but you should have. I mean, this is the first time this has ever been done, I should say, to the law students and lawyers work with me on this. So you know, you may not understand the legal rule, but you do understand equal, right? So you know that if you see something, you should have that, if some same pride as what someone else would, right? If they see it. So otherwise, it looks like the Republican, you know, the Confederate South of the slaveholding states, as they say in their title of their constitution. And it, you know, they would rather actually, what is it? I almost said it. Well, I'll just say it. Basically, they would rather put on the flag a bear instead of the actual, you know, California women. And so that's another story too. But another thing, this you know, goddess of wisdom and war, it becomes real, right? When you see this California emblem is on the police officers, you know, uniform. So it's also, other places, and Blacks are only, as we know, 13% of the US population floating around there. I think they're even less at 11.6. And now, over 45% federal imprisonment rate. What do you guys think about that one? When you see that still, knowing that's the goddess of wisdom and war on a police uniform.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like insult to injury, it's just like, yeah, yeah.
So it begin, yeah, exactly. It's basically, as now you can understand, it gets a little real now, right? It's not just a symbol, but it's actual a plan,
Yeah. And then also, sorry, but just to kind of, you're bringing us back to earth. It's like, hey, this is what's actually going on, but we're able to live our lives without this context at all, and we just think it's normal, but we don't understand how just kind of flipped everything is right now, because we're just not controlling the narrative. We just kind of go with it.
And we're not standing up for our rights, ladies and gentlemen. That's the issue, because we don't know there's a right to begin with. So our solutions here, we need to basically fix this in order to correct history. California is here, not in Africa. It's Black history that's here for Americans to take on as our royal history, and educate. The education is we've got to get these type of books as required teachings, so that we can have this true meaning right along with slavery, this narrative that they love to push, but they don't like to, put up the oh, it is heartbreaking. I've tried to keep myself together, but it's just for everything that I've learned, I get more and more just upset about it, but try to keep my composure. So we must do this, because they're trying to essentially, as my dean said, write Black women out of history. So we have to promote positive images of Black people, right? And how many, just imagine, because we haven't had this, how, look at how many Oprahs we could have had, or Michelle Obamas we could have had, if they just would have known that they were valued as someone who, Michelle, I think you said that, or Ria, yeah, Lucre, I forgot who said that to her. Was that you? Okay, yeah. Zaria, that's beautiful. Exactly the point here. And it just breaks my heart. So try not to think of it too much, because I just start going down the poet path. But we can coalesce, right? And start to strategize how we're going to build this army of support behind it. So in law school, we talked about, social media being a powerful force that we have now. I know Barack Obama talked about technology. So there's some ways I've thought of even coming out with the I Am Calafia movement, and I try to get people around that. And so Oprah Winfrey, just she had said this, and it was so touching, because now she was the first, African American to receive this award, and just to know that, wow, a new day is on the horizon. And Maya Angelou would be proud, I think. And I really wanted to start doing this, because now we done lost Cicely Tyson. Now we done lost, one of the Supremes. How don't you think they would have I knew it was some reason why, or feel good. Like, we need to be doing this ASAP for these people, because it's making me, I was trying to get this out before my grandma died, and she just died a day after my birthday in December. And she told me, she said, when I first told her, California means Black women. And she said, yeah. She said, She said, She said, they want to keep us dumb so we don't know nothing. And, I was trying to solve this before she passed on, but she's gone now. Sorry.
You're totally fine. I mean, I think a lot of us share your frustration as well. So I mean, just virtual group hug.
I'm giving you one on the screen right there. If you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's even more ammunition to do your best. You know, she passed the baton over to you to continue the, you know, the fight. That's even more ammunition. I mean, she was here on the earth. She's still with you in the spirit. I mean, we all feel the same way. Like I have a mother passed young. My dad just passed. It was stuff I wanted to get to do. You know, I never met an Arnold, so I wanted him to meet the rest of his relatives before he passed. I'm just now figuring out who they are. So there'll be times in life where people are here for a season, and you have to continue that purpose for them, even though they're not here.
Yeah.
So this is truly your calling to do it. Yeah.
Thanks.
You'll get it done. I mean, I think you, in a bittersweet way, there are some things I probably would not have done had my father still been living. But now that he's gone, I feel like it's amped up. That just cranked up the I guess the ambition in me to get it done.
Yeah. And for me, I thank you guys so much for just listening and being open, because I've been doing this by myself for so long, and it takes more than me. You know, I realized I thought I could do it, you know, by myself, and I thought I could. I just can't. And the reality of that's the weight under which we suffer. You know, if this were a white, you know, like when Snowden came out with his stuff, if you guys saw him there, he just went to the press. And, you know, do you know how long I've emailed CNN and all these people, and, you know, they just don't care about us. They don't care. So they don't want to write the truth. So, I mean, it's up to us to take this stuff on, and each one take the next one. This are right now, there's a revolution going on. If you haven't seen, and you know, we've somebody in slavery fought for us, somebody in the civil rights fought for us. So now in this intellectual fight, we've got to fight for us too, and for the future of our kids. We're going to be demolished if not, we don't do it. Yeah, I mean, we started at 20% that they recorded, and you know, then you know, been diminished. You know, they've just been attacking us on all fronts. But anyway, sorry to get. I got too sorry. I didn't want to do that. I'm supposed to be professional with this. Solutions. What are the best? But this was tough to get through in law school. And my friends, they just told Tamara, you know, just stick to the slides. But with my NSBE people, I do feel a little bit more comfortable. And y'all been and because we're, you know, you're speaking on it, it's just you know, my grandma, I just found written in her own handwriting that she said, we are out of the Choctaw tribe. And it's so weird. I was just getting my hair done about like a month ago, and my mom and I went up there. This lady that did my hair, she was the Choctaw tribe, Black woman raised on the reservation. And I was like, I can't believe it. Actually, after my grandma died, did we find this note? But the reason is, when I started, you know, and the reason that we need to appreciate and love our indigenous is twofold. But I don't want to get in. Let me stick on the slide. But yeah, that was what you guys were saying earlier. That's kind of what, you know, I'm like, man, look at this. So we just they want us to die out, right? So that they won't give us what is due to us, what is rightfully ours, you know, monetarily, solution in the seal, symbolically or otherwise. So, but the best solutions that we have right now, and we do have some allies. Don't ever forget that. There's people that love the truth, and we just have to keep speaking the truth to power. So the ways we do that, we get this out in logical fashion. I, you know, fashionably stepped into it, right? I was like, well, hey, shoot, you know, they're not going to take this from me. I'm going to go ahead and sport my truth. You know, let me go ahead. So I got a guy from law school, Georgetown Law School. He conceived together with he and I on this one. So this was the final Calafia, and you know, he wanted to always draw from Marvel. So I'm hoping that we get this out there so we can get that up for him too and others. But that's a bad, we're so multi-talented, it's crazy. You know, here he is in law school, and it so happens to know how to draw a superhero. And I'm like, yes, and he did it for me. So we have to basically inform Mr. Powers, the powers that be, right? Speak truth to power about this. And as Reverend Hale said, and carry his torch. And the pen is mightier than the sword. So everyone, if you can, please take out your cell phones and sign and forward these petitions. So that's the one here. When you go to Callius Me, you scroll down. I got an image of it there. We've did what CJ said on the national front, so we can get a holiday, right? And I'm hopefully we got to help, the only 6% Black people out there in California to do this, because we have 47%. We can put a national, look on it, and we can send this to at least 10 friends and family, just send it out. Hey, and if you don't want to send this a website, just you can go to those each individual petitions, sign it. It's to the Black History, the Black Caucus, especially for Black History Month. It'd be nice to do. And I always say, educate, celebrate, act. Okay, so it's clear in summary, by omitting Black women from history when they were rightfully there by the Spanish originally, and these people, were Moors during the time, as he said. And so California, that was the height. People always want to talk about a great, their Michael Jordan of, if you will, of their, and so that's what Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo did. And speaking on that truth, even though it's quote unquote mythical, is based on a lot of truth there. So Black women have gone from feeling elated about the name California, one other girl said she feels cheated. Another one said, stripped. And yeah, like you said, Lori, whitewashing, that's all it is. So the attempts to fix it, though, because of the law, because of the Constitution that we have, we can't fix it, and stand behind it, and it's just going to take another one of those social movements. And I've thought of, maybe we can get together and brainstorm on, some ideas. I hope y'all minds are clicking on solutions. But Dr. Reverend Everett Hale, we can't let his flame, burn out. And at the very least, we should plan on carrying his golden nugget of truth forward, a Black nugget of truth, and fix the queen, fix the queen. So I'll go through my acknowledgements. I couldn't have done this by myself. Obviously, like I said, I highlighted, archives was really a big help, and the Harvard University, when I went and did my other research at the Schlesinger Library, there's a lady up there that I mentioned in the book who helped Black women that went to Howard, and all my law professors there, and people from Turkey and Egypt and Libya, all worldwide. Man, we're so loved in this world, even though we had to go outside of California, the United States, to find the truth. But people all across the world have helped me on this project. So the second book is coming, but when I presented this to the Africana Studies, Dr. Abdul Khan, you guys should research his name too. That was a powerful thing he did. And he said that Tamara Dykes' work continues to challenge the myth of white superiority. The narrative of Calafia has long been hidden in plain sight. Dykes is having none of it. Who is the Black Queen Calafia of Golden, California? The real Wonder Woman is a major contribution to the growing work that centers Africa's people's contributions to the work and the history, world history and cultures. Then I love her too. She have Professor Bissamrap. She said the change only comes about when change agents care deeply enough to know and honor their history. That's powerful. Professor Dyson, Michael Eric Dyson's cousin, actually, and I asked him, about to do the preface. So that's who's doing the the preface in the book. And also, he was just recently on the TV 2 days ago or yesterday when I was on Court TV. I turned on the TV and there he is. I'm like, oh my God, So he was talking about this recent insurrection. And so yeah, he said he has put the forward in here of this book, and I'm going to carry it forward in the next book. But this was powerful. I didn't understand it at the time when he told me, because I was just going around collecting, data and everything. He said, if you don't understand who you are, you don't know your future, and you won't know the full nature of your enemy. Woo! I mean, I don't know. Come on, unmute yourself on that one, because I mean, I was blown away when he said that. I mean, later in time as I did more research. What do y'all think?
I think it's very true. I mean, as long as, and that's one reason why our history has been so minimized and twisted and deleted and just, you know, messed with, you know, and transformed in a way that it doesn't show that we did as much as we actually did. And the reason that that has occurred is because, you know, as CJ said earlier, there is this desire to have a class, a separation, and power over Black people. There's an inferiority complex about who we are because we have survived so much. We have been so powerful. And as you were speaking about women earlier, this is a comment I didn't get to make, but I don't know if you guys have heard about this recently, that the father of modern gynecology
Oh, yes.
researched, he did some very horrific research on Black slaves,
Yep.
female.
Yep.
And the whole women all over the world, all races benefit from those horrific experiments that he did on black females.
Yep, exactly.
Black.
Yep.
And even in the medical profession, the tolerance of pain, you know, they think we don't have as much pain as white women and we don't get treated the same, you know, they don't believe us when we say we're in pain. And so I just said all that to say, we have to understand that those things have happened to us. And I have 6 NSBE junior teams that I'm coaching right now. And I always give them little tidbits like this. And they get so furious and mad every time I tell them this kind of stuff. Like, they're like, I can't believe this happened. Yeah, it happened.
Well, now you can tell them about this. Tell them about the queen.
Yeah, they know what happened. Exactly.
You're right, Tony.
Happened. So they'll know their future. So they are really like amped up about, one of them is researching COVID-19 in the Black and brown community.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm radicalizing them a little bit.
Hey,
that's what happens though. Like, it's natural. When you start loving yourself, you're going to demand better for yourself. You're going to be radical about it. I'm not accepting this bull.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
hey, I'm feeling that one, but you hit the nail on the head. You know, it's the power that we have. And, you know, this has been, as you said, it's twisted, it's buried. I told my little niece, all my cousins, they all know about it. They all said it's a shame that it takes this much, you know, to get at us. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that means that's obviously because, the inferiority you hit it on the nail.
And one of them is Latino. She's pissed off at some of the stuff that she's learning about that's happening to Black people. She didn't know anything about the Tuskegee experiment, and when she heard about that, she is just like, "Oh my God, yes, we have been treated like some just." I don't even want to think about it no more. But
we're gonna create. Hey, we're here to create the future. So
yes, we gotta
know the past to create the future.
There you go. And it starts with this symbol. And I love this, what Professor KJ Green said. He's a great guy. He calls himself hip hop professor. He does a lot of contracts and stuff. He prides himself off the one he did for one of Public Enemies. He told us in school members. But words matter, symbols matter. This was his quote when I asked him. It is time to declare time's up for the invisible ways in which communities of color have been diminished. As Ralph Ellison said, an invisible man, when I discover who I am, I'll be free. Just gets so warm. It just echoes what you just said. You know, Professor Semeraro, he's the intellectual property fellowship program. He gave me my fellowship for that year. Learning history can open our eyes to the truth. There's so much that we assume that upon closer examination turns out to be false or misleading. Ms. Dykes' uncovering of the real history of the California State Seal is a breathtaking example of how one person can advance our understanding of our past and present and lead us into a more enlightened future. That was beautiful. I really appreciated him. Now, this was Professor Wildenthal. I went directly to him, and he is a professor of Native Americans, you know. And he said, "Tamara, you must write this down. You're the first. You've got to say." So, and so I asked him for a quote, and this was his quote. He's working on his book now too. Tamara Dykes' historical research is fascinating and should make all Californians and Americans rethink our past. So he was cluing us in, you know. And then we have, I think, oh yeah, I love this guy's. Just feel like more people, really, not white people, but people need to be like him. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. I will not let what I cannot do interfere with what I can do. And, you know, she was not petite, nor blonde, nor golden haired. She was large and black as the ace of clubs, Queen Calavia. So Dr. Reverend Edward Hale slayed for us. Now, who can tell me what movie that you guys now know? What would that be? And who is the real inventor of Wonder Woman, or the original inventor? You know, and then what is and who is the real Wonder Woman? Okay,
Hey,
anyone
Tamara, just real quick, let's just try to wrap up.
Yeah, this is it.
So, okay.
You want to answer it? Anyone?
Mm.
Okay, I'll just go. We
I
are
don't
pretty
know.
much had questions and answers. It would be the Black Wakanda Warriors of, I thought someone would say Black Panther, but that's who your California would look like, something like that, right? And then the Dora Milaje. And who's the real inventor? Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo. And who's the real Wonder Woman? Queen Calafia. Thank you guys for your attention. And that's part one. It's pretty much all that's in there. But yeah, we can take a part two later, which would be go through a little bit more in depth on that. So thank you guys. Thank you, Queens. Queen Calafia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dodie. Thanks. Thank you.
I mean, it's so much here. This could be like a class,
Yeah. People have told
like
me
a
that.
semester class.
Yep, I'm thinking I'm going to try to make it a curriculum, because they said that exact words. They're like, nobody's teaching this, Tamara. And the people in California say, Dr. Dykes. I say, no. She's like, well, yes, you are. She's like, who else is teaching this? So yeah, I'm going to try to do that. Well, first, that's why I said I'm going to do the book. So I got my second book coming out, and it's going to delve into a lot. But yeah, they don't want to talk about the minorities, you know, and America is heavily you know, white and Christian, and so they don't want to talk about the Black, you know, and African and Muslim, what happened, you know, to this ceiling at a time of the height too. But I don't want to get. We already talked about the Moors, but yeah, thank you so much for that. And please, guys, go to those two. We got two petitions. One is the tell the state, you know, or just simply, you know, sign it, pass it on. When you go to calliasme.com, go to the and I don't want to go to the internet, but you know how to do that. And and I showed you what it'll look like. And you go there to sign up and pass it on to other people. And everything is California is me on social media.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Queen Tony. I'm so happy. Y'all know the truth. They tried to get me too, but I just kept going. It's been really hard. It's been really hard. Miss Takia, did you want to say something too?
Yeah. I'm sorry I joined late. I did enjoy the book. I think I might have read it. I wanted to read it in one sitting, but had other things to do, so it might have been two. And I kind of came in on the part where you were talking about the two different symbols, and I've been studying the one that was on the right, so to speak, and just like the background. And I'm glad. I think was it Mitchell or Michelle? I can't remember.
Yeah,
who,
Mitchell.
she was talking about, the background and everything like that. So I had a clearer understanding of that. So I thank her for that. And just thank you for sharing. Thank you for even, being vulnerable, letting us know about, your personal life, your grandmother. I completely, I pray for you for that. And with that, I wanted to echo Tony and say, being a spiritual person, she is here. And then, of course, throughout your life, she will show up to you in different people and different things.
Yeah.
So yeah, just always remember that. And thank you for this.
Oh, thank you guys for being appreciative of it. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. So it's just like, went in there. Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. Okay. She says she has to go, but amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, let's I mean, I just want to be, respectful for y'all's time. It's been 2 hours and I feel kind of bad about that. That's on me. Yeah, I mean, if y'all don't want to leave yet, we can keep talking, like ask Tamara more questions. I actually have more questions I want to ask as well, but I will just say, please fill out the survey that I put in the chat. Just let us know how we're doing. And also join us next month. Because, okay, so far, we've read, 4 different books now, and it's really been about Black history and trying to have some real historical context about our problems so we can solve them. But now it's really time to get to the solving. And we've kind of discovered that a lot of this is based off class, it's based off economics, it's based off education. So we're going to be reading Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Powernomics, The National Plan to Empower Black America. So it's going to start getting good. And I mean, my goal exactly is to implement this strategy in these books. So, I mean, I hope, I can find people in NSBE, I mean, people in this group right now that really want to, I mean, Tamara's doing it, right? That want to take the action.
We all doing it because like I said, it can't be one person, we've got for our survival, we're going to need to fix this seal and then take over and in all these ways and start empowering ourselves. And I'm supposed to go when my my little niece brought me over. I've had a lot of challenges right now, but yeah, we just have to, I think this is good. We can do the bite-sized stuff and take it from there. CJ, do you mind if I say, why don't we just write the questions down and email them to me at queenc@calliisme.com? Would that work? And then we can pick up for the part 2, because I have a part 2 and you guys are going to be very surprised. I would just say that.
Yeah, that's fine as well.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you want to put your email in the chat too.
How to do that? Where's that at? Yeah. I see it. I see it.
Okay, yeah. And I have to give a quick shout out to Aya for creating this flyer you see in front of you and some of the other flyers. So just thank you very much. It's all appreciated.
Yeah.
And it looks great. So yeah, I guess I'll give you guys a chance. Like, if you want to drop off, thank you for coming out. If you stick around, we can talk more. So, because I mean, it's like we're hitting everything. We're trying to hit these deep conversations in an hour, and it just is not it. So, there's a lot more talking to do.
Yeah,
it's just like I mean, I'm having to multitask because I have like so many things I got to get done. But having this just kind of in the atmosphere is inspiring for me to get this work done. And it also just keeps me fueled. Like, I'm not saying a lot, I'm listening, but it just really like helps me face the things I have to face. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I echo that too. I thank you guys for just all the things you guys said. Is just so great because it just keeps me going, it just keeps me focused and going forward. Because yeah, sometimes you want to give up, But thanks. Well, we can do questions, email, just send them out to me and we can have that part 2 later. We can start brainstorming how we're gonna, weave this stuff in and take some of our power back in every place where we see it, lie. I think that's what we need to do. But any guys,
Tamara,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, are you speaking any place? Are you doing any special presentations on this for Women's History Month?
Well, yeah, I would have loved to do that. And I was trying to, well, the real talk, I was trying to do that with my job, but my manager was just, since I got in law school, was really just came after me. I faced a lot of racism on the job, but because of this. And he mentioned the book and everything. But I want to do that side. Try out. If you know of any other place that I can do it, let me know. I've tried at my job because I thought that this was it is intellectual property. And one of the directors acknowledged it actually, but yeah, if you know any other place, then let me know. And I'll go and go where I can to speak on it. I did a lot when I was in California, and I did a lot, a few things on the Hill before I left DC. I was trying to get in front of all the powerful people I knew before I left, and I did do that. But yeah, we need to do women's groups and Black history groups and intellectual property groups, and wherever this touches. So yeah, however you want to do it, I'm here. Just email me, and I'll keep my stuff up as much as I can. And yeah, we can. I know one thing, you guys may be a little afraid to wear the t-shirts and stuff, but I'm telling you, it's so empowering when you do. I was a little afraid, and I have a California's me just, on there. And at first I thought, oh God, do they know what this means? Do they know what this means? And when I was in California, actually I had the dress on because I have a dress, and I put it, and they saw it, and this girl, she just like that, but that's all she could do. Oh, thanks, CJ. That's all she could do. Yeah, thank you. That's all she could do. She couldn't do anything else. That's when I realized, hey, it doesn't matter, they still gonna hate. So what does it matter? They're not gonna kill me for it because now they're gonna get in trouble, but that was a real fear of mine, to be honest. I was like, is the man after me? Oh God. I'm glad y'all appreciate it though. Thanks a lot. And if you got any more questions, then let me know. We can pick it up later. And yeah, if you know anywhere I can speak at, let me know. I've only done the one with Dr. Adisa out at USC, and I was a guest professor there. So they applauded, and it was happy. And one little girl, can you sign my book? I was like, sign your book? Like, like, okay.
Well, the universities that have like women's studies programs, I would think that I know like Duke has that. I don't have any contacts over there, but this might be something that you could pull together like a publicity package and just send out to like the Office of Women's Studies at various universities. I mean, I think the academic world will be receptive of it a little easier. It's a good place to kind of like get some momentum.
Okay. I will do that definitely for sure. That's a good idea with the women's studies. I was thinking of just HBCUs, but yeah, you're right. The women's studies.
I'm telling you, the PWIs, don't sleep on the PWIs now.
Okay.
The PWIs have very progressive people in them.
Okay.
They can be a little edgy at times.
Okay.
So yeah, the PWIs actually kind of like, they like that little, some of them, that little edginess and kind of mysteriousness. And I found that with my research on African American worship, a PWI is where I ended up going to get my doctorate in it. Because it's kind of like interesting to them. They're like, oh, wow, we need that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's true. I forgot about when I was in DC.
And then this is a good time too, like,
Yep. And it's all there for us to see. It's all good. One of them is already out. Yeah.
You said what?
Yeah, and this is a good season. Go ahead, CJ. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. If you want to finish your thought, you can go ahead.
Yeah,
I was
finish
gonna
it
say
up.
this is a good season for that too. I mean, because of we have a black. No, I'm sorry, I got to correct myself. The highest ranking female in American history happens to be a woman of color.
Yep. Yep.
So that says a lot in people's. I guess like the season is right. I just say
Yeah,
it like that. The
exactly.
season
That's
is right
you're
to
right.
be able to like
You're
take
right.
advantage of the opportunities. This creates some new opportunities that as Black women we're sleeping on.
You're right, Queen Tony.
Yeah, like things that people are realizing that we're powerful. We're powerful, and we don't see ourselves like that enough.
Yep.
We're like, who, me? You want me to do that? I mean, I'm like that. I'm like that with stuff. I'm like, why do you think I can do this? You know, I'm like that. But I want to say that, you know, having VP Harris has really opened people's eyes to like, oh wow, they're powerful. Even my Indian coworkers, they are making sure I know she has Indian roots. That's what they're telling me. She has Indian roots. So they want to make sure I know I'm like, I know.
That's the
But
thing. Yeah.
it's a good season for this to get out. It's a good season.
You're right. You're right.
So I'll just give the floor to anybody that just want to do final thoughts. So I'm gonna actually Aya, we haven't heard from you that much. How do you feel? Like, what'd you learn? What's important for other people to know? You have any questions for Tamara?
Like, I've been trying to listen more because this is a topic that I'm very unfamiliar with. But also, I know someone mentioned before, like the like why do like things get like history gets whitewashed, and it reminded me of like different countries in Africa who like been after colonization, and so like they're pretty new countries, but there are people in there that don't even know their own histories, their own histories of their country. It's like there's a reason, because when these kind of colonial powers come in and they try to institute something, they teach you what they want you to know. It's like they stay in power because you don't know your own history. And to me, because I didn't realize that I was like, these countries have been existing for so long. I mean, not officially, right? But it's like for them to not even know what like anything, and it's like the only thing that they've heard is like, for example, like from the British or something. That kind of reminded me of what you're talking about. But overall, it was a really good discussion. Glad to have been here to hear what everyone's thinking.
You want it, Queen Aya. That's exactly it. They teach you what they want you to know. That's it. So it's up to us to do that digging. And if you aren't trained like people, myself or others at the office, you won't really know where to go find it even, or where to even, that's the real sad part about it. Like you don't even know where to begin, like where to even start.
I would say like we're engineers though. We're smart people. How could engineers not like use some type of analytical skills to start questioning things more?
That's true. Yeah, we got to be more we as engineers have to be more inquisitive and more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? We have to not accept so easily what we've been given. We have to question the process and the logic more.
And educate our kids on it. You know, that's it. We sit now dumbfounded as adults. It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be this way. And getting back to your point, Aya, Queen Aya, we need to, as I said earlier, you know, get these books and mandate them as they do with these other, you know, books. And so when slavery comes around, you say, we queens, boo boo, like look this up. I mean, just imagine when you were getting teased and looked at. That's what all I could think of when this came out. I was like, ooh, you know, if I only knew that, I could have responded with, yeah, but I'm the Queen of California. Now what? You know, and you know, yeah, we need to get this. That's from a lot of the youth are saying that I've interviewed.
I'm trying to.
Hello. Well, first, I didn't even know like California was named after a Black woman. I didn't even know that. I didn't even like the symbol and everything. I was just like, what? Like this is so new to me. I just was like, wow, like this is something else that they're continuing to like hide from us with, like our history and everything. And I was just like, wow, I really learned something new today. Like,
That's good. Go ahead.
Besides that, I was just like I said, it's just something else that they're continuing to like hide from us. And I'm just like, okay, like, well, what else, are they hiding from us or like trying to like keep from us? I'm just like, what else? Like now I'm just like curious.
There we go. Exactly. Now
Hey.
that's what there you go, Tyrese. Queen, that is exactly what you gotta, because that's exactly it. See, if they've done this, now what else is it? Because that's what someone else said. Of course, now you're gonna question. And then that is the whole, that right there, when you get on that trail, that's what led me to connect the rest of the dots that I'm leaving for book 2. But yeah, that's correct. That's right. Way to go, Queen.
That
Queen,
is a
Queen Calafia is on the line tonight. Oh, I feel good. I love being around engineers too. Black ones at that. Let's go.
yeah, that's that. Like once you open that box, it's hard to close. When you start, oh, well, what else then? Yeah, so have fun.
It's a lot, but the thing of it is now we have something we can act.
It's kind of like you.
Go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say you uncovered when you pull back the rug. It's no telling what you're gonna find out. So
exactly, but this exactly. But this, guys, a lot of the as my law friend said, Queen, she said this will be, if you guys know anyone in media, of course the media advisory is up there, but it's in there that says in the media advisor, this will be the first ever, they're undisputable misrepresentation, in the seal and flag and in the name itself. So, when this changes, it's going to be revolutionary, and we just have to keep getting it out there and getting in front of people and owning it, and sometimes I think a lot of Black people, I'll just say this, my last, we won't, a lot of women too, they won't find a voice to say, oh, well, hey, this is wrong, or, oh, even just in a situation, and not saying you, CJ, but if you're in a situation where you're overpowered on a date or whatever, and it's hard to come up with that voice. But if you don't, I try not if you don't say that there's hey, I've been violated, then nobody will know and nobody will do nothing. And you got to know that's what you got to do. And there's laws here to support you guys. And I want to talk more on that in part 2, but thanks for listening, and thanks for the and if anybody wants to have a quote, I get quotes too. I put it up on the wall of justice. You guys have said so much, but if anyone want to put it out there, that's another free way of getting it out there too. So just getting our faces on it, that's going to be big. Yeah, they came before Columbus, exactly. That answers this. And you think to yourself, well, gosh, if Columbus has and he never discovered America, well, then we should have California should be a holiday, for Queen Calafia and California Day. So that's what I'm working on too for that second. So it's the African navigators were here, and when you interview people, as I've done, they will tell you, educated people and people that know, they will tell you. And then I've got the facts now, so.
Love to see it. Yeah, on that note, so a few points of further research, just kind of supplement Tamara's findings. They came before Columbus by Ivan van Sertima. He's really on the whole early America and the African connection to it. Dang, it's crazy how there's so much history they just don't even care to talk about. And then When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler. And then now that we're talking about this, I think it's relevant to know that the United States, or Barack Obama, he signed the United Nations Rights of Indigenous Peoples in his presidency. So now it's like a whole new meaning, right? Well, dang, I might be able to get some of that. So that's where I'm at. But so yeah, Zaria, do you want to leave us with any words?
Yes. Well, first I want to comment on the book, and it was really good. I read it on my lunch break is like super long. I read it during my lunch break, and like it gave me energy for like the rest of my shift. And I love the way that the diction of the book, it was very easy to read. I feel like, you know, my elders could read this and my little cousins could read it. So I thought that was really nice.
Good.
And something that you said earlier, I think it was a quote that you shared about knowing yourself is like the only way to kind of get to knowing the nature of your enemy. I think that a lot of times, like, of course, we have a like inferior perspective of ourselves due to conditioning and things like that. But also, we tend to think like hate is just so dumb, it's meaningless, you know. But at the thing when we find value in ourselves, we see how much that they go through so many hoops, they put up so many walls, they integrate it in so many different ways in almost every aspect of life to remind us that we're inferior. So it's like they put all this effort in, and it shows that it's not that the oppression isn't senseless. It's systematic, it's intentional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not to prove the point, though, that we're not inferior. That's what it proves. Because if you have to do all that, yes, there's power. And to that, Zaria, Queen, I got another, Queen Zaria, excellent point. I got another part that I just did to the systematic part. You don't realize how powerful and integrated and systematic and institutionalized it is, because you have to look at the origins of that. So I'll be going, that's my second part. But yep, it's deeper. Like it's deeper. You wouldn't believe I was shocked, but I digress. But yeah, they do all this to just, it's just crazy. We must be so powerful, you know, or somebody in the past must have whipped their butt. That's what I'm thinking. Because I'm like, woo. They put a hurting on them that they like, oh, I'm gonna take out your whole entire race of people, you know. And it's crazy. This, what I've seen is this obsession with Africa, you know, this hatred of it. Anybody from the continent, from North, they have a really hatred of North Africa. But then, you know, the just I can't, let me not be, I just know too much now. But yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna, hey, yeah, you guys gotta keep coming back because we got a lot to talk about. So Tony, Takia, any words you wanna leave us with?
Keep up the great work. Camera is, I know it's some heavy lifting, but you are the right person to do it. When I think of the fact that Biden is going to push for Harriet Tubman to be on the $20 bill.
Yes.
Says something.
Yep.
And you're doing the same thing. You're pushing for this seal to be recognized in California as official state seal. So, like I said, you're part of history. This is the season for change for people that have been marginalized, minimized, you know, deleted, all of the above. I mean, this is a humanitarian moment. It's not just people of color now. It's people who feel convicted, who are not people of color, who want to be on the right side of the future. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, y'all, sign the petitions and tell somebody else. Each one teach one. That's how we thrive. And that's how we're able to talk today, you know?
Yeah.
Our ancestors, they really, that's what kept me going. I'm like, and I'm keep going with my aunts and my grandma. keep going. And I hope that everyone else can be a teacher, because that's what we're gonna need. That's how we do it. And they know that too. They keep taking our oral, but because that oral teaching is strong. Your mama tell you something, you remember, you pass it down to the next one. It's, you don't forget it. There's power in that. That's why they don't like that black girl magic. We got black queen magic. Now what?
Yeah, and I would just say always remember that. And again, I want to thank CJ. I know he started this book club a couple months ago, and I mean, I think it's amazing. And I mean, very simple. So my mom is funny, and I thank God my mom is still with us. But every time I probably want to give up, or if there's a struggle, or I'm struggling with how to just deal with something or even get through something, she always equates it to playing a game. And we have this life, like the game of life kind of thing.
Yep.
And she's always like, you have to play the game, you have to stay in the game. And at times you may even have to create your own game, and that way you can make your own rules.
Yes.
I know, we've been talking about, systematic and how, we're hiding, and I hear you ladies and guys talking about hiding, and I'm thinking hide and go seek, again, game. They're hiding our history, put it here, put it there, strip this away, strip that away. And we're trying to figure out, okay, what's truth, what's false, and how can we move forward with all the information that we have. So just trying to understand the rules, and knowing that because we are us, rules change, especially when we start to get ahead. But just trying to continue, again, try to know the game, study the game. I don't remember which professor said it, but he talked about somebody knowing it, have to know all of the things in order to, I don't want to necessarily say win, but it's not about God's plan, power.
Your volume went down a little bit, Takia.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Sorry, I'm on my phone. But just you think about winning, you think about power, you think about defeating someone. And it's funny because I feel like, we as people, we talk about being equal, we talk about equity, and it's not necessarily about wanting to make other people inferior. It's like, look, why can't we all just be the same? After all we've been through, that's all we've been asking for. We're still a people of, okay, yes, we do want to share, we want to collaborate. But could you imagine if we were trying to flip it and make other people inferior? Like that's a whole nother story.
Well, we're gonna do it. We're gonna try at least. And I put this book out there, so I'm praying and hoping. I self-published it myself, but I'm really hoping that this will be a movie, a movement, and all of that. And that I started to retell the story. To your point, I'm like, that was immediately my thing. I said, okay, because my grandma said that too. She said, oh, when it gets hard, Tam, you just gotta make it a game, at your job. That's how I get through. And and she's like, keep this going. That's another thing. She said, keep it going. People will jump on after that. And she picked cotton, man. She was the last of our. She told us about them days. I just, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it with the simple, because see, somebody said it earlier, I forgot who said it, but somebody said, I think it was Miss Queen Chinese maybe said it. The symbols, you don't think nothing of them, right? It's just a symbol, or it's just, you don't realize they think that they already know what it means. So there's a subliminal meaning. There's a subliminal meaning behind that, and you guys have to. That's what I'm trying to. Peep game. I'm trying to bring y'all up to, like, okay, this is what this really means, though. You look at it, you think, oh wow, that's so cute. Oh, Wonder Woman. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, this is a little bunny. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's a nice. Then oh, that's a white Jesus. That's another one that I spoke to somebody at the director. I asked them at the PTO what they thought of it, and she said, white Jesus, she's like, and it's been happening so much and people get comfortable. And then I talked to, when I was out there in California, anthropologist of the guy on Estevanico. And she said, she said, Jesus did not look that way. He did not. I said, what do you call this? And, she's an anthropologist. So I was trying to get them on board. I can't believe how many people I've been meeting like that are in exactly what I need to, get out of there. It's just so crazy. And she goes, well, she said, he did not look like that. It's called mass delusion. And I said, that's a term for it. But yeah, so I mean, but it's really don't get real until we put ourselves in that, when we adopt, when that's why I came to California is me, my goal. I hope that each woman, each person, each, the I am Calafia, I am Breonna Taylor, that each, and that's why CJ, getting back to him again, it's amazing really what you've been able to do with this, because when I was struck, we were all trying to do this at the same time, but then I got struck at my job. And the racist thing started to was thrown and started to crumble. I could not swim anymore, but CJ picked it up and he kept going, and that's what we have to operate as too. When one of us fell down, because it's a system, and they got their people, but we got our people too. And no matter cross religions or whatever, we some strong group of people. And I really think back in the day, I said I was gonna go, but back in the day, I really think that it takes both people to burn it from both sides. It takes the Martin Luther King and the Malcolm X. And, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X in middle school first, before I got to high school. So I was on fire when I got to high school, of course, went to, a PWI or whatever. And then I said, oh, I'm going to HBCU. So we also got VP Harris at HBCU in there, and that makes me proud as well. So we'll all get to that. And our professors told us about this. It's just about structure, not so much about color. When he told us about, Black people being here a long time ago. And I just didn't want to accept it, at that time. I laughed it out, like somebody had said earlier, but then I said, oh my God, Dr. Fluker was right. So I put him in there. I tried to call him too, tell him about this, but he was too late. He passed on too. So it's great though, that we do have our, that's why we have to keep pushing this on, and professors. So if I'm gonna say it again, please, please, please go to that, get those petitions out, talk to everyone, get it disseminated, get however you can, educate, celebrate, act, get it in front of somebody so they'll pick it up and say, oh, wow, and that's how these movements start,
Yeah, I guess
word of mouth is the strongest one, despite, but thank you, CJ. I appreciate you for keep carrying the torch.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NSBE principles. It's everything. NSBE already knows all this stuff. NSBE is so wise, you guys. They already got it all covered. We have the torch concept. We have the culturally responsible. They knew that was important, so they put it in the mission.
Yep.
Yeah, NSBE is what they do. But I do want to say, Tamara, thank you so much. I mean, like, you're just giving all of us life. The fact that you're so boldly stand for truth, and that you're so courageous to continue, even if you have to walk alone. I mean, I can't even imagine, like, the struggles of it and trying to be like, hey, did you know this? People don't care. People, they're like, I mean, trying to, your job situation. It's a shame how much we have to go through. And that's why, like I pointed out, the ladies on the back of your seal, that queen and king represents a nation standing with you. So I mean, that's the concept that I'm really stuck on, unity. There's strength in numbers, and I don't know if we properly utilize that as Black communities, but I mean, it's time. So
you're right. Strength in numbers, and each one teach one. So we'll exponentiate those numbers, right? And we'll keep telling somebody the next person, because truth, we got to care about it. A lot of people don't even care. That's the scary part, when you get to the part that you don't even care about truth no more.
Right.
We have a Black Jesus in the church at Reverend Cleaver's. When my parents, when I come home, and I think maybe that's why I to be honest, that's probably where it came from. That and Tuskegee, and just knowing that, oh wow, imagery means something, and then just knowing that truth, just I think that's why I took it. And then, like I said, I did well earlier when you asked me, I was putting it down because, like you said, I was like, oh, nobody's gonna care about this, and then my ex at the Pentagon, he said, I care, and you go forward. And he showed me how to soldier on. And believe it or not, I get more people from the veterans. Woo! They have supported me so much. and this one lady out in California. They will buy a book. They tell you gonna keep going. You gonna make this happen. And I was like, okay, okay, you know, keep going. But it'd be great if we could all get out there. I really want to get us all out there. I have now a group asked me to speak in San Francisco in October, and they're gonna do the actual ship. So that's what I always wanted. I was trying to get P. Diddy to do it, but then someone, no, not P. Diddy, you know, he'll take it and make it something else. So I said, okay, so these people, I think they're willing to work, and it'd be great if we get a bunch of us on, just because I really need people to stand there with me. I don't want to be by myself up there. I'm like, Queen Columbia, Viva la Columbia, like, and then or I don't know, or somebody like, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to go out there by myself. Hopefully we can get some kids though. That's what I really want, some kids to stand up there with that California is me, and then maybe they will. Yeah, think about America like, oh wait, were we here? You know, but yeah, California is our golden gem there. It's so crazy. It's been sitting there. And another thing someone said when I gave this presentation in law school, she said, man, she said, what it takes for one guy to do something wrong, and you have to have a whole army to fix it. And that's it. You know, that's it. But, you know, it happens that way because it wasn't just, as my history has shown, it's also other people, in my research will show later, but it's also other people that stand up and say, you know, no, you know, and they take that sword of truth and they slay with it too, you know. So and then, you know, people in strong positions. So yeah, we need to strategize. But we will hopefully let's have a brainstorming session while you guys are off, and you know, maybe you guys can think of something that we could do. Thanks, Dr. Queen Tony, for the one on, you know, the schools, which I'm going to do once this editing session gets done with the second book. You know, this one I had thrown, I want to say thrown together. I was writing it in 2016. It was pretty much finished before I got to law school. So I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta put the website up. I gotta put the teach. Nobody knew anything. So I'm working with someone with marketing now, but I was almost ashamed of the book. But so I'm happy, Queen Zaria, that you said, you know, because I was like, I know I can do better, but I was just so busy, you know, and I could so I said, I'm gonna make it real simple, you know. And this people should understand that, you know, this don't match that. And this little white girl in California, she says, why? She says, why does she look like this and not like this? Right? You know, she was confused or something like that. She put it, and I just said, racism, honey. That was it. She was like 6 years old. But see, she's like, I want to know who the queen is. You know, she wanted to know the queen of California. And then that's all she saw was queen, and she saw that, and then it dawned on her. So that image is speaking to him. You know, here's a 6-year-old girl that got it, you know. So in its simplicity, I think it's still achieving, which is why I said, all right, I'm gonna leave it up. And then I'm working on that second book, which is that was the you know, stake in the throat. That's the end all be all there. I'm bringing all that together. So hopefully people will receive it by then. I don't know, but we're going to try. We're going to try. But thank you guys for being interested in it and sharing it with people. That's really, I'm happy to hear that. And if you won't mind too, on Amazon, there's a little, you know, you can say what you like about the book or whatever. Please go there and say what you think. You know, when they ask you, I think there's something that comes back, or you can, you know, click a star and rate it. That will help.
Okay, will do. So yeah, I mean, thank you for giving almost 3 hours of your time.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, you know, give it back. I'll see you on March 24th, Powernomics.
Great.
Please sign up and I'll send you the book.
Okay, thanks, CJ. This was great.
Right.
Thanks, Queens and Kings of California.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out and like speaking to us. And yeah, I love how interactive this was.
Good. Me too. All right, y'all. Bye, Queens and King.
Have a good night.
Good night, y'all.